So this one scene stuck out that he had a fucking marathon fuck session, and this is the one where you see his cock.
Yep.
And I wanted to see how long.
It's 4 minutes. It's 4 minutes long. Loads. What? All right. Sorry.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another fun-filled episode of Mike Reviews. I'm Mike Reardon. I'm joined with my co-host Kayla Jennings. Say hello.
Yeah. Hey. Great intro.
My guest today is Cameron Dunbar.
Hello.
And Erika Peterson.
Hello.
And we watched a movie called Color of Night from 1994. It was
Saxy.
unlike anything I could have possibly expected. Give us a breakdown of what the movie is.
The movie is an erotic thriller from 1994, in which a psychologist, played by a 38-year-old Bruce Willis, has a very steamy affair with a 20-year-old mysterious woman who rear-ends him one day. Oh, I suppose I should probably start by saying the movie starts with one of his patients jumping out of a window out of nowhere, falling for what seems like 20 minutes, and then landing on the ground, and he sees that and is very traumatized, and he can no longer see the color red as a result.
I saw that part and I said, I'm sorry, just the color red? Is that something that people can just suddenly lose?
Yeah. Are you technically colorblind?
I know there's different types of colorblind, right?
Yes, there's red-green colorblind.
Which is the most common form of color blindness. Red to suddenly gray color blindness is not a thing.
I was like,
When I was watching the movie, I'm like, I don't think that's a thing, but maybe it'll come in handy later. Like it'll be a skill.
there's
It'll
a
be
reason for
it'll
it.
be like I'm the only psychologist / detective that needs to solve the mystery of it. They started going into this whodunit, who killed someone, and I'm like, oh, they're gonna be like, anybody who could have seen the color red would have just walked right past this, but because it's gray, he was able to figure it out, and they never did anything with it.
It comes back in the weirdest way because there's a car chase scene in which a very red car is chasing him, a distinct model car. And I'm guessing he was losing track of what car was chasing him because it was red.
Well, I think it was just initially he didn't know which car. Like she said something about like, I'm in the red car.
That's right, because he got a phone call in his car phone.
That's right.
It was 1994 after all.
I'm in the red car, and
His antagonist is well aware of his
Colorblind.
handicap.
Yes.
Yes. So, well, I mean, we should probably set it up that the movie opens with one of his patients killing themselves.
I'm sorry, you're gonna have to be corrected. The movie opens with that sexy
Oh, yeah.
saxophone.
After the studio logo, what kind of movie are we about to get? Immediately sexy
Kenny G.
saxophone. Like,
Is that
all
the
right.
one, the main theme song for the whole movie? It's probably called Color of Night, right?
Well, no, the actual theme song they wrote for the movie and played over the end credits didn't really have. It was more like a smooth soft rock opening of the movie, and throughout most of the movie, there's this huge bombastic score with like in-your-face sexy saxophones. And that was like the first thing you hear when the credits start rolling. Like strings, saxophone, like yep,
You know what you're getting yourself into.
we are about to see a very sexy movie.
Let's pause there because I have a clip prepared that I'd like us to go through.
Oh, all right.
Oh, or should we spoilers or
Spoilers.
for this movie?
Stop.
From
Spoilers for a
1994?
27-year-old movie. Oh,
This
are we
stuck
gonna
out
watch
to me.
all 5 minutes of this sex scene? The music is just so over the top here. Like, and
Kissing is just amazing.
Okay, so this one scene stuck out that he had a fucking marathon fuck session, and this is the one where you see his cock.
Yep.
And I wanted to see how long.
It's 4 minutes. It's 4 minutes long. Loads. What? All right. Sorry.
I count a load every time they go back to the start of the song, or it's an obvious load, or something, or like they change scene. There's another load.
How do you know?
Oh, okay. I think
I will usually slow
the
down.
hang gliding.
We're at 4, and
Oh God, it's
Yeah,
just so
this-
gross.
This scene was very sweaty.
Oh,
It's probably worth mentioning that up to this point in the movie, there has been no sex whatsoever. So this comes out
Okay,
of
hold on.
left
I want to see
field.
this part. We counted that as a load, even though it's the same scene, because I had to listen to Bruce Willis come.
oh my God.
All right, and then they cut to this
Oh.
scene. This
Yep,
is this.
you gotta
I
take a
lost.
break.
I lost my shit here. Let's get
Oh,
dressed.
the scene's over. They're done having sex now. We can get back to the movie.
And it was perfect spot for them to move to another scene.
Then
And
they-
then, bam! Nope, load 7. Number 7, yeah, baby.
And it's the same music comes right back
The
in
same-
too.
I
Yeah.
know.
It's
Yeah.
It
almost
was
like
so
a Family
great.
Guy joke.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
And I'm like, now they're gonna fade away, right?
It just the movie
Okay,
had
wait, hold on. I counted that as a load too because
What?
he didn't have sex in the shower and then go and just tie himself up to the bed without having another load. And then now they finally end the fucking scene, right?
yeah.
That drove me nuts that they started and stopped the scene so many times.
It's called
Another-
pacing, Mike. You need some.
Well, what is he pacing with this bitch now?
You gotta have peaks and
You need
valleys.
pacing in
no,
your
wait,
sex
look at
scene.
this though.
Yeah, you gotta have like.
That's 9.
In the love
That's 9.
and rolled it up into a ball.
The way that scene was going, it wouldn't have surprised me if they had cut back to them having sex again.
Great. Like her like scream
Yeah.
perfectly lines up with like the music.
The dough.
She took the dough. Sorry. His reaction when the sex scene, okay, when they pause and then the dinner and then they started the sex scene and the music comes back up, he was like, what? And I just explode. I could not stop laughing. It was so funny. Like the funniest thing I've ever seen.
It went on forever.
I
And-
will say, like, with the beginning of that sex scene is kind of interesting too, because she shows up at his house, and I think that's when he first starts narrating about, oh, she's walking into the
yeah.
garden. And
Yeah,
blah,
do you
blah.
like how he starts
In
narrating
a
random
dress of
scenes?
Oh.
indiscriminate color.
To kind of help explain this, the director of the movie said he wasn't really interested in making a mystery. He wanted to tell a sexy story.
Well, it was definitely sexy, you know.
Was any of
Was
this
it?
sexy? I think that's a big question we should probably. Was any of this really sexy?
Yeah, sexy is subjective.
I was incredibly uncomfortable because of the age difference between Bruce Willis and the actress.
You were uncomfortable by the 18-year age difference between the two?
It felt very creepy. I felt like I was going to be on a list.
What made it creepy is prior to watching this movie, I knew that the 15-year-old boy in their group session,
Spoilers.
spoilers, was going to be like the mystery woman. That 15-year-old boy in the session is who we're gonna have the 5-minute sex scene with later on in the movie.
And Cameron and I were talking about this, and we said it could have potentially worked where you were like, oh, who is it? Who is it? If you didn't get an actress whose teeth were so messed up that it's like, oh, obviously
Gigantic
that's
overbite.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole Bonnie character, like, there's not a mystery whatsoever. It's just they didn't even try. It's
No.
just, like,
But who the killer was a bit of a mystery until her brother shows up and's like, I feel whatever this person feels. We're connected. Like, oh, so that's the killer. All right.
Hmm.
I do have a little fun fact here that during test screenings, 1 in 4 test audience members figured out the twist.
1 in 4.
1 in
1
4.
in 4. According to Rush, they still enjoyed the film as much as those who didn't see the ending coming. No pun intended.
well, yeah, because the ending is like batshit crazy.
Scott Bakula. No.
No. In the opening of the movie, his patient just casually dives through a window, and then this guy right here also dives right through a window. What are windows in this movie's universe made out of? Like, how did he know? Look at that. He leans against the
yeah.
window.
Yeah,
It
that's
stabs them
that's
straight through.
unrealistic.
So this is the director's cut of the movie. Runs an hour and 20 minutes long. The theatrical cut is 2 hours because they wanted to squeeze more showings into the theaters. The producers trimmed off the beginning and end of most scenes. And one of the things that this director was all about, Richard Rush, was transitions between scenes. And that's a great example there of, oh, well, we got to have a helicopter. Let's have a toy helicopter shine a spotlight. And then we'll have a transition where there's a helicopter above and a spotlight going down. And there's little things like that in every scene transition in the movie. And the producer said, we got to trim this thing down. Let's start with the beginning and end of each scene. So that was one of the big things that the director, Richard Rush, was very wound up about when they chopped up the movie.
Can we talk about why this man, who's only a friend of Scott Bakula, the psychiatrist who gets murdered in the beginning of the movie, continues to live in his home
And drive his car?
cars?
That was my note number 4. I just live here now?
I wrote that too. I wrote, can Bruce Willis do that?
Yeah, what?
What did you
Scott,
write, Erika?
Same.
Does Scott Bakula not have other family?
When he meets that girl, I think one of his first lines is, "Oh, I just recently moved here," and I was like,
Was he moving in with him from New York?
He was just
No, he was
visiting to get
visiting,
away from
yeah.
it.
But then, the cop was very adamant that he should take over his group, and said
Because he has to solve the mystery.
Solve
okay,
the mystery for me.
that cop
Same
sucked at being a
conversation.
cop.
Yes,
That was the
he did
worst
suck.
cop.
And-
Also the most celebrated cop.
And he started off wrong because first he was like, do the group, and then he was like, you need to shut down the group.
Yeah.
And then he's consulting with him still about the case. I don't understand.
I want to know how much of that cop stuff was written into the screenplay and how much was ad-libbed.
I think he is ad-libbing quite a bit because he was the only like entertaining character.
He was going for it, unlike Bruce Willis, who everything just happens to him in this movie. He's not really driving anything. He's just a passenger walking through all the events.
And then he sometimes narrates.
Remember me?
Here she is. Little angel.
He's like,
Wait,
what? Are you
who
talking to
is
me?
she talking to?
Here she comes.
This is the scene that is the beginning of the sex scene.
Short dress of indeterminate color.
I might have cut that out. You want to watch the sex scene again?
Gosh. So the director of this movie, Richard Rush, hadn't made a movie in many years prior to getting this. The screenwriter, who took a spec script from a guy named Billy Ray, who went on to write The Hunger Games and Captain Phillips and a lot of other movies, his spec script was turned into a full screenplay by Matt Chapman. And when he handed that in, Richard Rush, the director, started rewriting scenes the day of and adding in ridiculous choices like this scene we see here, or having a quick cut of people hang gliding while our characters have sex.
I thought
like-
that was just to reset the song again.
No.
Oh.
I counted that as a load, by the way.
So what you're saying is there are multiple people involved in this mess of screenwriting.
Well, I think what happened here was that this was basically a game of telephone. It started off as a spec script, went to a screenplay. Matt Chapman handed it to Richard Rush, who was like, listen, this is a really crazy story. You need to follow this blueprint carefully. And meanwhile, the director rewrote scenes the day of, added in a whole bunch of goofy shit, and then the producers were like, all right, we need to fix this. So they edited it down even more, and the end result is essentially the cinematic equivalent of the car that Homer Simpson designed, where there's just all this insane shit happening.
Yeah.
And the screenwriter, Matt Chapman, was like, I got nothing to do with this.
Take my name off it.
Take my name off it. He's warmed up to it. They did a Blu-ray commentary in 2018 where they're both kind of fond of the movie. But when it came out, they were like, this was not what we intended.
I love how that scene started of them at dinner. Oh my god, that's so interesting. You can't even see shades of pink.
You,
Like,
can't,
what?
you can't see my lipstick?
What about my lips?
I mean, I just wonder at what point in the date.
Yeah, go ahead before we do the snake part. I'm sorry, I had to pause it. Go.
Never mind.
The fucking snake. How helpless are you, dude? I saw you fucking BMX motorbike like all over with Scott Bakula earlier. Now you can't even scoot back an inch.
I'm sorry, are we sure that they did it all over the place? Because it looked like they just went down the street and then turned back around.
That's what that scene seemed like. They went out. We can see their house, his
And they're
house in the
like, "Oh,
background. They
Boy,
have,
we really did it, huh?
they talk a little bit, and then the very next shot is them going back to the house covered in sweat. Like, they just.
No, I'm sorry. This scene is just great. He falls over. He's like, help. The car's like, fuck you. This guy's coming over. I was waiting for a marching band to start coming through, a mariachi or something, and it's just like, all you have to do is
move.
scoot
Going
back,
back.
dude.
Just move.
Yeah.
He's just helpless, and
Why do you
everyone
need
is
to call,
indifferent.
Yeah. Why are you calling for help right there?
Yeah, but everyone's different because he doesn't need help, Cameron. He can just move back like he did.
The guy in the
Slightly
car
scooch
is like,
back.
help, and he's like, get the fuck out, get away from the snake, move. What do you mean? You want me to come over there?
He was like, you fucking idiot, move.
Oh, I had a note. It was Old Man Hot Tub.
Thanks, Tim. My bag's
This is when he goes and sees his mentor in New York, right?
Which is just weird. You could just go and watch an old man take a bath.
Well, this was okay. What I love about this scene is that all right, he needs. Oh, wait, what? This is not what I remember.
This isn't in the director's cut?
Magical.
Was this? Oh, this must have been the international producer's cut.
2 people are dead.
You know, it's weird. When you need to find a video of an old man taking a bath, you can never find one.
I can only imagine what your Google search history looks like. That is an excellent transition. You may have done a better job editing this film than the actual filmmakers. I did love this actual scene in the movie, though.
Yeah,
'cause
where
it-
he's like working out, and then they just go
It
to
was
a hot
hilarious.
tub.
and then suddenly he's
Like,
in a
why
hot tub.
are you following him?
I wanted that scene to go to a third location so badly.
Oh,
Well,
yeah, I
to
thought
the
it-
locker room where
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
naked and putting
Okay.
The conversation continues.
What's the third location? Go.
Bathroom?
The toilet, right?
Oh,
The newspaper.
Yeah. Okay, can we please talk about the policeman's birthday party? I've been dying to talk about that. There's like hundreds of people at this party. There are kids, so it's like a family party.
Oh,
There's
yeah, that's right. Because I was
Yeah.
like, did he get it? Did he invite him to his niece's quinceanera or something? And then a helicopter shows up, and some lady cop shows her ass and.
That, do you know how much money it costs to have a helicopter in a film scene, then have a stunt woman hang out, get naked on the side of a helicopter, and then fly? That scene cost money. Why was it there? What was the point of that?
Somebody wanted to see it. Somebody liked the stunt woman. It's like, I know just
because
the
we
chick.
need more sex in the erotic thriller. We need more nudity.
There's kids in that scene, and there's a guy with a blow-up doll.
Oh yeah, awesome. This is what we're spending our tax dollars on. Having the police helicopter come and have a lady show her her ass. All right.
Her ass and yeah, she got it all in that shot.
Well, I also thought you were going to say about how, like, why did it happen in general? Because Bruce Willis shows up to that party, and it's like, and then he says something like, oh, you didn't tell me it was your. Why did the guy say, Bruce Willis, come on over? Like, it just.
This-
So
Yeah.
that's the same thing. I'm like, why don't you be like, it's my birthday, dog. Come over tomorrow, you know?
But I just like how he's surrounded by all his friends and family, and he just hangs out with Bruce Willis throughout the. Like, he doesn't even know this guy. I have a few stray notes here. In the 90s, real men tucked dress shirts into their jeans. You know, every guy in this movie. You know, every guy in this movie, Bruce Willis, dress shirt, jeans. You know, dress shirt, jeans. You know, same thing
Classes
with
it up.
Billy Baldwin, dress shirts tucked into his jeans. You know,
You have that scene where he busts the door open and then he's demobilized by one nail from a nail gun in the shoulder.
yeah. What kind of nail gun was that? Nail
There are
guns don't
no
work
nail
that way.
guns that will do that.
The precision of it was amazing as well.
Oh right.
Yeah.
Like, he was a crack shot. Man.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and then Detective Dickbag over there kind of like slowly comes out and is like, I got you, dude. You better put that toy nail gun down. Oh, shit. Right, you guys should probably run.
That last scene was so bizarre. Like, we got to climb up to the top of a smokestack? Question
Oh
mark.
my
That
God,
last
she
scene
just
was
goes
a
off
delight.
running.
She's running and then she'll stop every now and then to go, ah! And then keep running or climbing something else. And
I don't know what that place was. How do we show that this lady's crazy before she kills herself? Let's have her perform fellatio on a gun and smear lipstick all over her teeth. First thing in the movie. Good?
Yeah.
Got it.
okay,
So
that's the tone.
he fails to say it did set the tone for sure, because I immediately knew I was about to see some crazy shit for 2 hours.
I just want to go back to what you just said with like he had the disability where he lost the ability to see red, and then in that moment when she falls and hits the ground, then she's bleeding out. It's red and it turns to gray, and we see that. It would have been more of an interesting choice if they had continued with that, where everything we saw that was red would have been gray in the movie.
Like a gray car chasing
yeah,
him.
where
Yeah.
we just keep hearing him say like, "Oh, I don't know what you're seeing, your your dress color or your lipstick." Like if everything was gray.
How about when in the dominatrix scene where the what's his name, Craig or Chris, I don't know, he gets murdered. They do it the one time
Yeah.
and then never again.
Yeah.
Like it would make more sense if they were doing it the whole time. That
It would have helped us get to see through Bruce Willis's point of view a little better and empathize with his character more. Instead, when he says, "Oh, I'm in the red car," and he just looks around, I had to think for a second.
Dude, I
be like,
did not
"Oh,
know.
right,
I was
yeah.
not sure what the heck was going on, because then he looks at another car with a antenna,
Yeah.
and then he starts chasing that, and I'm like, they said the red car, you fucking.
So why is it called the color of night? I said, please don't make
Oh,
it be
that
a
was my other
stupid.
question.
Okay.
What is the color of night?
It's gray.
It's because
It's gray?
It's gray.
It's the absence of color.
It's the color of night.
In the
So-
absence of light at night, Bruce Willis was only able to see
See
gray.
gray.
Hence, he could only see the color of night.
He still sees the other colors, though. It's not like he's just seeing gray.
Yeah. We're seeing
Why
a
did
whole
they-
bunch of colors around him. We're supposed to see the things through how he sees it, but no.
especially for hearing his monologue. But I guess it's not his inner monologue since he's saying it out
Just
loud.
saying
Maybe
it out
he
loud.
thinks he's
Sometimes.
saying it. Yeah,
Do
maybe.
you think that he was memorizing the description of the scene on the script
Oh
and
my
then
God.
just reading
Actress
it out
That's
loud?
what I
Rubén.
thought. I thought he was fucking up, and then they kept doing it.
Because he's such a dick, and they're like, just leave it in. Fuck him. Leave it in. Don't tell him that he's not supposed to read those lines that are in parentheses.
Kind
Don't
of
tell
like
him that.
the Kevin Sorbo disappointing,
Yeah, yeah. Did you like the movie? Did you enjoy your experience with it?
No. It gave me a hard off.
Okay.
Not a sexy movie.
Erika, did you like it?
No.
You didn't even have fun like watching it like as a goof?
No, I don't think so.
We were laughing like most of the
It
movie.
was very difficult, especially the first hour. It's very boring. Like
First
we
hour was rough.
we almost fell asleep. But then it definitely picks up after they start fucking.
It picks up, and
Yeah,
then
that
there's,
is interesting. That's when we got more interesting.
there's also big
But
action
it's
scenes
so
out of nowhere.
hilarious.
It does
Yeah.
sound like they're saying that they took breaks too. So once the sex scene, it got sexy for you guys too? Or
Not
like-
sexy, hilarious.
But there was a point when we turned it on and like it's that long sex scene, and I'm like, why am I staring at Bruce Willis's ass?
the farmer's
Yeah,
tan.
he was sporting that farmer's tan. That was pretty nice.
I mean, the movie was terrible,
Ugh.
but I had a fun time watching it.
You figure it out within the first hour, and then you still have an hour and a half to go.
Yeah, they introduce the killer of this movie halfway into the movie, an hour in. They give you all the pieces, and like I knew that the girl was involved, and once the brother showed up, I was like, okay, that's the killer.
Yeah, but did you get it though? Like when she was with Sandra, was
Yeah,
that the blonde?
Sandra.
chick?
Yeah,
Blonde.
She was
okay.
with Sandra, and she was like
And all the
obviously
other
a different
characters.
person, had it with a similar overbite, and then like on the next scene with this obviously different person, they zoom in on her butt, and they're like, rose tattoo, and you're like, oh my god, is that the chick he's been nailing?
I love the reveal in the psychiatrist office where they're all looking at a picture and they're like,
Yeah.
"That's Bonnie. No, that's my Bonnie. No, that's I don't know. I think there was
Yeah.
Well, and this is after they had a scene where they all describe her.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
5'5", 105 pounds, red hair, and it's like,
Well, one of them's
I
like,
know
mine's
a woman
brown
like
hair.
that.
My
No,
buddy's
that
brown hair, so yeah, it's close. but,
Mine's auburn.
The director of this movie had a heart attack and he had to
Lost the ability to see the color red.
he had to
And
edit
he's
the
like, I
film
need
in
to tell
2
the
weeks.
world.
He only had 2 weeks to assemble a cut
After a
of the
heart
film.
attack?
Yeah, after a heart
Ooh.
attack. So he got out of the hospital. He had to edit the film together, and this is before digital editing. This is cut and glue
Yeah.
editing. So he was only able to assemble the plot of the film, like make sure everything made sense for the most part, and that was it. He didn't have time to like make it, add any flair to it, I mean, movies are really made in the editing stage, and he was only able to put together the rough plot of the movie, and that's what we see today, the director's cut.
That does make a lot of sense. It's very, very sloppy.
It is. It is.
Weak. If Kevin can go and pound down some chilies after a heart attack, then this director should have been able to edit a freaking movie. Come on.
Jenny's brother, Kevin, had a heart attack a year and a half ago.
Isn't he our age?
He is our age.
Yeah.
And he had a heart attack a year and a half ago. And when they discharged him from the hospital, he went straight from the hospital to meet his buddy at Chili's for half-off appetizers. Do you have any other thing? Oh, man. No, it was a lot of interesting smut in there. And, I mean, I like watching people have sex.
Now when it's gross, though, man.
Bruce Willis does
there's
make it gross,
nothing-
and her overbite made me uncomfortable.
Oh. Like, it was too much sweat on the. I mean, well,
Oh,
the whole
God,
scene.
so
was
much
just-
sweat.
The scene where
But
he
that
was like
just made
taking
me
her from
could
behind
smell
and they
that
were
scene.
grunting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh.
That just made me want to puke. Bruce Willis coming is the worst sound I've ever heard in my
Yeah.
life. Ah!
So is that also your favorite part?
Oh my. Well, yeah.
Closing thought for me. This movie came out in 1994. It bombed at the box office. Was one of the highest, most rented videos of all time because
I
everyone
can
wants to
see
watch
that.
this at home. No one wants to watch it in the theater. This was the movie all of our parents watched on VHS after they sent us to bed. You know. And I remember thinking, like, I would see, like, the Great Mouse Detective, Color of Night. Oh, that's for my parents. They're going to watch that after I go to bed. And growing up, is always like, man, those adult movies that I'm not allowed to see, I'm really missing out on that. Turns out, all these years later, we weren't missing out on much.
The sexiest movie I've ever seen is called Kama Sutra, and it's an Indian movie. Okay,
I bet you
look
there's
it
a
up.
lot of bush in
All
there.
right.
Yes.
See, that's why white people just watch gross movies.
For the international version of this movie, they put more nudity in with a Bruce Willis body double.
What more nudity? The other half of his penis we saw, like. I
Maybe
mean,
you see it for longer.
Doesn't it? Doesn't it seem so quaint to look back on a time where a partial side view, half a second of a guy's penis was considered scandalous?
I mean, how often do you see dick in a movie, though? Like,
You never see.
Never
Right.
see dick in a movie.
Right.
In a movie, yeah, not very often.
But I'm all for it. Hey, more dick in movies, please.
Every single person watching this right now is thinking they haven't seen the new Jackass movie yet.
Oh yeah.
Not-
So there's got to be dick in that.
Come on, sexy dick, not like
Oh.
old man
Can-
having his balls
Can we have a
hit with
discussion?
hammer.
I want to
dick.
know
I don't
where's the line between sexy dick and.
Well, it sure
And
isn't
Jackass?
anybody in
I wanna-
Jackass.
Is it the lighting? Is that what? Do we need the? Do we need the? Do we need that?
That does help. Yeah.
Is that the line?
What if Party Boy showed up and he had a wardrobe malfunction?
I said no one in Jackass.
Okay. Well, I think we'll end the show on that note. Thanks everyone for showing up.
Smash that like button.
Smash the like button and subscribe. Thanks. Terrible. Probably because I had that fucking concussion earlier.
He's always been
Sports,
a fan of the
even
Lions.
stuff like tennis and golf.
But I mean, they're not like, one of the top 4 sports.
Oh my
God. Oh my god.
Oh Jesus. Are you okay?